Hello everyone, my name is Robert Stanley and I'm from GroupU15.
Hi everyone, my name is Meredith Berenson.
My name is Victor Ho, and I handled the testing and integration.
We started this project by identifying a few core roles, features that would define what we wanted our app to do, and how it should feel to the user. First and foremost, we wanted to make a turn-based trivia game. The user clicks on a tile on a Jeopardy-style board, reads the question, and submits their answer and earns points if they're right. Secondly, we wanted to implement real-time scoring using PHP sessions. A player's score should update the moment they answer a question and reflect their progress throughout the entire game. Third, this was really important, we wanted persistent scoring. Players should be able to log out and refresh the page and still keep their score. We achieved this by writing scores to a text file on the server. Fourth, we needed a way to make the UI responsive and visually engaging. That meant using CSS animations, hover effects, and grid layout that works across screen sizes. And finally, we wanted game logic to mirror the original Jeopardy format, which usually means 5 categories, 5 questions each, with escalating point values from 200 to 1,000. The combination of technical reliability and clean design was central to how we approached every piece of development. As we started building the project, we quickly identified 4 major technical challenges. The first challenge was handling cookies and sessions to manage game state. Since we weren't using a database, we had to rely on PHP sessions to track whether a user was logged in, what questions they had already answered, and their current score, all without losing data between pages.
So we were able to read and write that form through the session on the server side by gaining the proper form permissions.
The second challenge was form processing. Our app is built entirely around forms, logging in, registering, submitting answers, so everything had to be validated and secure.
We also had a user registration and login system, and we used a hashed encrypted login storage so that user's information wasn't in plain text for anyone to just see that user's text file. And we are reading and writing that text file.
And the fourth challenge was building the logic for gameplay itself. This included tracking whether each question had been answered, validating answers correctly, ensuring scores were calculated accurately, and handling edge cases like refreshes or back button exploits.
Here is the file structure and data flow of the web app. We have index PHP, login PHP, register PHP, questions, leaderboards, logout, styles, scores, users, text. So index handles the main game board, login, authentication, entry, register is new user creation, question is question display and answers, leaderboards for score rankings, logouts for session cleanup, and styles is for stylings and animations.
New users go through register.php, where we use password hash to securely store their credentials. We prevent duplicate usernames and sanitize input to avoid injection or script issues. Once logged in, the player plays the game through the board and question PHP, which presents a specific question and validates their submitted answer. Correct answers trigger a score update, both in the PHP session and in persistent users.txt file. The leaderboard is handled in leaderboard.php. This page reads all user scores from the file, parses them, and sorts them in descending order to display the rankings.
Scrum implementation. So we used the agile development process, and our sprint schedule was from July 2nd over until July 11th. For the first sprint, we were doing planning and setup, data structure design, UI UX mockups. Sprint 2 would be core development, authentication system was built, game board implemented, and we had Q&A logic programmed. Sprint 3, we had enhancement and testing, so we had styling added, a leaderboard functionality, bug fixes and optimization. Documentation was also completed at that point. We had daily 15-minute stand-ups. So before each meeting, we would kick off a meet, and like for example, here in July 2nd, we had our project selection, role assignment, and initial planning. We chose the Jeopardy game and assigned initial tasks. July 3rd, we had our design meet. We talked about UI mockups, review. We did our database structure. We discussed the types of functionality we would like with our forms, and we finalized our color scheme and kind of CSS styling so that we could have a mock Jeopardy type of style and feel. We also worked on our file structure. July 4th, we had our technical plan, authentication flow for users, session management, We had file-based user storage discussions and how we were going to do that. And we had a little bit of an issue there with our file permissions on the server side for the COD server, so we had to figure that out. And luckily, we were able to do that based on, this development process. It really did help us. We also worked on user storage encryption. We want to make sure that users' information was securely stored, so we made sure that was encrypted. July 5th, we had a development check-in. We did the login and register PHP functionality. We worked on the game board. We had CSS grid layout issues, and we resolved them on July 5th. July 6th was our mid-sprint review, so we looked at the feature prioritization, like what do we really need and want based on how we can get things working, but also follow the prompt that we were given on this assignment. We wanted to make sure we had random questions, not just the same fixed questions that weren't static. We also worked on our testing to try to find edge cases, try to break the program, see what would work, what wouldn't work. We focused on the core gameplay before the animations, because some of the animations we want to make sure that they were not going to cause any issues as far as the way that the things looked. Like sometimes we had issues with the hover, like we went to hover over tiles, and sometimes the hover would work, but then we wouldn't be able to access the whole tile by clicking. That tile would only work when you clicked the integer with the dollar amount. So we had to figure out how to fix that with styling so that the whole box, the whole tile was clickable. Just things like that. We added some animations and polished things up as well in the next meeting. Made sure all core features were working. July 8th, we had a testing session. We fixed some edge cases, did some more beta testing. We worked on the file permissions issue we were having because we added the scores file, and that was also having a similar issue to the users file. We made sure that we wrote a script that allowed for when the file was created, because if the file doesn't exist, it will be created, and we made sure it was created with the proper permissions to work on the COD server. For some reason, student permissions, we don't have the escalation to run scripts that will create the file on the server side, so we had to make sure the file was there and it had the proper permissions. But if you run this locally on your own server, you will be able to run the program and it will create those files for you. We also added XSS protection throughout to prevent from any injection. Scrum benefits. So this is our slide talking about the benefits of how Agile enhanced our product and our project. So for the daily stand-ups, it helped with our rapid problem resolution. So we would talk about our issues, and then someone else would have an idea of how they could solve that. So whether or not I had a problem, or Victor or Meredith had a problem, when they spoke about it, we were able to identify it and think about ways that we could have a solution-oriented mindset and figure that out. We were able to identify CSS styling issues early on because of these daily stand-ups in our meetings. We diagnosed server-side file permissions issues quickly, and we also had continuous communication throughout our daily stand-up. We were able to prevent some major bugs by talking about edge cases and discussing our problems and plans. The sprint style development allowed for a focused delivery, so we were able to lock in. We had clear initial planning, which prevented scope issues. So we planned everything out very clearly. We designed everything, and we were able to work from there and not have to work on something and then backtrack. Core features were also able to be delegated and completed without distractions. So we were able to know what our roles were and work on those roles and combine our code by merging in the code base. We were able to work together with GitHub and our public repo to have a controlled release so that we can work on everything through CI/CD and make sure everything was up to par. And if there was any issues, we could remove a feature, and add it back if we needed to. After the functionality was confirmed, we were able to polish the project a lot quicker with this development process. So Scrum definitely has its benefits, and this is my personal statement. I said Scrum was able to transform the project due to our collection of individual tasks and cohesive team effort. Since the framework type focuses on communication and iterative development, we were able to effectively express our ideas and issues to form an efficient project. I felt like Scrum helped me exceed the initial proposal we had set and finish strong. And if we had used some other type of development framework, I feel like we would have had to go back and try to fix a lot of the core functionality instead of getting it right the first time and knowing our roles and figuring everything out from the start. For the authentication implementation, here are some code snippets so you can see how the secure user management system works. So for example, the register PHP file, if the username exists, it will obviously throw that initial edge case like, okay, this username exists. If not, we're saving the new user and we're creating a hashed password using the password hash function. And we're also hashing and making sure that, within the file, you cannot just pull any type of user info. And if the file doesn't exist, it will create that file with the proper permissions. For the COD server, we needed to create a user's file that had chmod 666. so that we had read and write permissions for users, groups, and then others could only have read issues. So there was an issue with making sure that everything was correct there. With the proper permissions, and we solved that. Other key features with XSS prevention, we used HTML special characters function, so to reduce any type of injection attacks. We also had file locking to prevent race conditions whenever the file is being accessed. And we had duplicate username edge case checking as well. For answer validation and the index PHP file, to verify if the answer is correct, we used different types of case-sensitive answer checking. So when you're, comparing things and you're verifying a correct answer, it's going to return 0 when the string is equal, therefore following through, else it's going to throw an issue with, okay, well, this is the incorrect answer. The correct answer was this. And by doing this, we were able to create a system that validates questions and answers. To prevent re-answering of questions, we created a unique ID for every answer. So we tracked all the answered questions so that there was no issue with questions being repeated.
To make the game board visually engaging and responsive, we use CSS, grid, transitions, and hover animations. The layout is built on a flexible 5x5 grid, which automatically resizes to fit the screen. It's fully responsive, meaning it works just as well on a mobile phone as it does on a laptop or desktop. Each question tile is interactive. When you hover over it, it gently lifts and glows using CSS transitions. Buttons throughout the app scale slightly and glow on hover, which gives users immediate feedback and reinforces interactivity. We added a glowing effect to the main Jeopardy tile as well, using keyframe animations, which helps create a dynamic first impression. Input fields also glow when they're selected, guiding users' eyes as they move through the forms. All of this was done with plain CSS, no JavaScript. The result is a clean, game-like experience that feels modern and smooth to use.
Persistent score implementation. So dynamic score tracking was implemented for the web app. Scores persist between sessions. Atomic file operations prevent corruption. Automatic file permissions management. Real-time save after each answer. Here is the code for this feature. 666 for all the users to access. Challenges and solutions. So problem: original design lost all scores. Solution: implemented file-based persistence, only showing session data. Merge file plus session scores dynamically. Web server couldn't write files. Gmod 0666 was implemented so everyone can access the files. Problem: potential corruption or data loss. Validation error handling throughout the program.
All right, and this will be the live demo portion. And also, this is our public GitHub repo. Has all of our commits, 55 commits, and all of our files. And this is our README or our text files. So this is describing our project, exactly what it is, what we used. And we will have the link to the live demo here upon submission because I'm working on that live demo right now. And the technologies used, obviously, PHP, HTML, and CSS. These are our roles. I was the backend development. I developed the game logic, the user authentication, and session management using PHP. Meredith Berenson was in charge of front-end development. She designed the UI UX and implemented CSS animations for the visual polish. Victor Ho was part of integration and testing. He focused on data persistence, system security, and quality assurance testing. He also made sure to help out with any type of PHP code where if there was a function that needed to happen or some sort of edge case, he was helping identify those edge cases as well. This is our file structure for all of the files, the features of the product, all of our game, authentication, dynamic gameplay, leaderboard, everything we've discussed. And then security considerations, things we've done, input sanitation, preventing injection attacks, like I spoke about, session management for secure logins, file-based score tracking, and here's the link to start.
Now we are at the main page. Here is the code base. Here is the registration page. Let's check login. So when login, to check if login's working, type Superman. Let's see if remember me. We are in. The user was authenticated and it's a valid account. We'll log out. To create a new user, we'll check usernames. Check Superman 2. Password is hidden. And let's check. And we are on the second account. So the web app can handle multiple users. So we are now in the gameplay of the web app Jeopardy. We are using, these are the columns and rows with the points or money. Here are the categories. We have world capitals, science and nature, literature, pop culture, and history. So let's check if we can get a question correct. Pop culture. This animated movie franchise features a cowboy named Woody and a space ranger named Buzz. We'll try what is Toy Story. We are correct. So 200 points were $200 were rewarded, and it has tracked onto the user account. We can then check the leaderboards to check, and this is showing that this is our current account right now, and this is where we stand on the leaderboard. So we go back, everything is saved, and so we will try another question. World capitals. What is Berlin? We have that correct. Let's try pop culture for 400. This streaming platform is known for its original series and red logo. What is correct? We are now at 800. We will check the leaderboards to see if we are tracking. It is tracking and retaining the scores when we enter the leaderboard. We now can try to surpass the leader on the leaderboard. We'll try science and nature. So, what is skin? Sorry, see, and it is case sensitive. So it is the skin, not as what is skin. We can now try world capitals for 400. We'll try what is Venice. Correct, we are now at 1,000. We'll check the leaderboards. It has updated. We have surpassed the second player on the leaderboard. Now, if we want to reset the game, we can. We'll have a confirmation set up to ask us if we want to reset the game. Say OK. We have a logout button. Now the money has been reset. We'll check if the questions are still the same. So we'll go to world capitals. The French capital city is home to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum. This is a new question, and it was randomized to a new question. So we can confirm that the randomizer is working. Here is the code for it in our index right here. So we have a get random questions right here. Go back, enter the question, and we are correct. Now we can log out to test that our register or logout PHP is working. And this is Jeopardy. And the security features implemented here would be shown on the code base. We can look at login first. We have these edge cases over here. And this is for the remember me cookies. Here is the leaderboard setup. On the real-time tracking, we have some confirmations for the edge cases to just check if everything is correct for the users. This is for sorting highest to first with the sort by function implemented for the leaderboard. And this is Jeopardy.